Alright guys, we're back at it this week on the 37. Last time we took and we did the inner wheel well and the battery box on the other side of the trunk. On this side, I'm going to start off the same way, using the tire to shape the fender well. And then on the inside is where our air compressor for our air ride goes. So we're going to try to build this out kind of similar to the other side, and then we'll go from there. So first off, we're going to put this piece of metal in, jack the tire up to hold the fender well, mark it and cut it.
Let's go!
Once we got it cut, we're going to go ahead and tack it in using the pry bar to lift it off the tire and nice and snug as we tack it. Going back and staggering our weld so we don't get any warpage. Then we're going to install the lower skirt. This time, instead of screwing it, we're going to go ahead and tack it along the edge. At this point, we install the floor on the passenger side. Believe it or not, even with all the folds, we hit this first try. Now secure it with a couple screws just to hold it in place. Now we install that filler piece in between the frame and the wheel well. This is just simply going to be done with some self-tappers. Now this gap here is between the skirt and the shape of the body. This is where the original wheel well came all the way back. So now we have to make this piece, and to do this we're going to use a shrinker and a stretcher. When looking at the shrinker, you can see the 4 different teeth. As you squeeze down, they're going to grip the metal and pull together. So each time you do it, in, they'll come down and they'll go in. This is actually pressing the metal together and compressing it so it shrinks it. Now with the stretcher, it does the exact opposite. You still have 4 teeth, but then as you press down, it's going to grab it and pull it away. Each time as you come down, it grabs and pulls away. That's the main difference between a shrinker and a stretcher. Same concept, one's pulling, one's pushing.
Alright, so look, I've got this in here and it looks good, but I have a feeling that I'm not overlapping enough. So what you can do is just trace it onto the existing piece, pull it away, and my curve doesn't match. Can you see that? Where it gets thin here and out there. So this thing actually needs to curl even more so that I have the same amount all the way along. So if I know my problem areas are from here to here, I'll mark it, put it back on, and mark it. Now I can go back to the shrinker and work this area to get a little more curve out of it. Alright, you never want to do too much. Do a little at a time, take it, mark it, look at it, keep cycling through it. I know it takes a while, but that way you know you've got it. Alright, after quite a while of sitting and trimming and shaping, I've gotten this piece. Okay, so the thing is, this will be shown on the other side, the piece is going to. So I don't want to just rivet it through and then have the nasty side of the rivets hanging out the side of the car, or vice versa. I don't have an aircraft riveter, you know, where you can route them together and has the button on both sides. So what I'm going to do is punch small holes and spot weld it along the way. That way it doesn't give me the nasty look on either side. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is work on the other piece on the opposite side. So this is where the skirt behind the wheel well and the body come together. Same thing we did over there. Now this time I went ahead and made a template of the piece. That way we're going to convert this to curve around that. So instead of walking back and forth, I can keep laying this on there till I get it right. So here's our piece, here's our template, that side that way. There we go. So sometimes if you overbend it, just put this stretcher on, work it back through, and get it exactly where you want. All right, I put that little beauty strip right here to cover up all the relief cuts before. I'm going to go ahead and take that off because now that I have the strinker and stretcher, I can make a nice right angle piece for right there. So we'll go ahead and remove that, and then we're going to spot weld the new piece in just like we did last time. So now I can take up and fold up some little 1x1, put it in here with the strinker, and shape that so it fits right in, cut it nice and clean, and spot weld that in too on both sides, and that'll complete all of this. Now I've just folded up this 1x1. The cool thing is I have this cover piece we had on there, so I have my template. I've just got to work it till it matches. All right, we got all the holes punched, so we're ready to spot weld it in. Alright guys, well hopefully this video showed you the benefits of having a shrinker and a stretcher, what you can actually do with the sheet metal with it. It really works out when you're working with a lot of curves and things like that. Now these guys here were from Harbor Freight, cost me about $160, but they work fine. Now one thing I definitely need to do in the future is build a stand for them. Trying to work out of the vices was a nightmare, so I need to build a stand and hook up a foot pedal so you can really get some leverage on it, but we'll be doing that in the future. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, got something out of it. Do me a favor, like and subscribe, and if you want to see some other videos, check it out over there. Alright guys, have a great night.